Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So this one is slightly different. This is the first of many business orientated videos. All of my vlogs, I am probably working, I'm showing you around about my day-to-day life. Although today we have got a video that is specifically on business, and this is how to lose clients 101. So you might be thinking, why on earth would I want to lose my clients? So I'm going to tell you exactly how to lose clients so that you can avoid doing it. And this is based off of my experience scaling and running my own social media marketing agency, specifically in the content space for kind of brands in hospitality scene mostly. If you want to get down to the specific details, which you should, and you'll find that out from later on in this video. So my first point here is communication, right? Communication, this seems like an obvious one, right? But this has been the sole reason that I have lost clients in the past. Now, whether this is someone just in the prospect stage or they're already a client of yours, ensure that they have a full understanding of what the deal is, right? Now, this comes from the very, very beginning, and this also leads on to my next point. But understanding fully on both ends of the deal what the deal actually is and ensuring that they are briefed on everything that happens to their business. Because essentially, you are being brought in. If you're in my position and you run an agency, you are being brought in and trusted with someone else's business. And that comes at, that's a great, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe pleasure? That's a great pleasure to be able to have. And please always respect that, because listen, see, at the end of the day, if you've been brought in and you've been trusted with something and they are willing to pay money for your service because they believe that you can do it, the absolute least you can do is tell them what's actually happening with it. If you don't do this and you just try to get by on like a, on the sly of things, you maybe don't talk to them as much, you don't tell them what the plan is, you don't tell them what's happening. As I say, I was in the content space. If you show up to a shoot with no plan, no one's going to know what's happening, and it makes everyone's life difficult. And that is talking from multiple experiences. Now, as I said, from the prospect stage, this was going to lead me on to my next point, contracts. Contracts are essential in business, and I literally cannot stress this enough, by the way, because I have had problems. I am currently still in a problem, and I've got the contract signed where people might want to not pay you or might want to turn around and say you haven't delivered X, Y, and Z. That comes from communication, but please ensure that when you do have a service that you're offering someone, ensure that you contract the client. I was putting clients on retainer, so it was more essential for me because they were going to be in work month in, month out, and ensuring that you have that contract and having it back signed with their signature is essential. Ensure that everything is in a clear understanding in writing on paper. Ensure that they have read through it. Please ensure that they have read through it, and tell them that they have to have this come back with their name on it before you can start work. It's just policies. Tell them it's company policy, and make it company policy. That's what I'm saying. Make it company policy, because if you don't have a contract signed and go, nah, it's fine, and then 2 months down the road, you're owed 2 months worth of payment, and they go, I'm not paying you that. Why would I pay you that? I'm not contracted. And you go, why are you not contracted? Because you didn't make sure that they sign the contract. So just ensure that gets done. Now, you'll hear this from so many YouTube videos on here. I've heard it from so many YouTube videos on here, and this is ego, right? Leave your ego at the door. See, when you start your first business, if this is you getting into your first business, or whether you're trying a new one or whatever it is, leave your ego at the door. Trust me, someone is better than you. And I don't mean to say that in like someone's better than you. Someone has already do what you do, and someone does it better. I'm connected to, I would say, tens of people that run agencies the same as I do that are better than me. Whether maybe they didn't get the opportunity for clients and that's why I have it, but whatever. Someone's better than you, and you don't need that ego. That ego is going to drive you further into the ground than you think it will. Now, there is a fine line between ego and confidence, right? Now, be confident in yourself, be confident in your product or service, but do not cross the line of ego. Real business people, and this will probably come If you are signing clients, real business people can smell ego from a mile away. And it's either going to be the reason that you don't sign a contract or whether it ends, very short into your service. I would say just leave the ego at the door. When I first started my agency, I had the biggest ego in the world. The biggest ego in the world. I thought I was the shit. I thought nothing could come and touch me. I thought I was like, nah, I've got a business. Like, it doesn't matter. I've got a business. It's fine. No. When you first started as well, by the way, you don't have a business. You have most of you won't even have it registered. I didn't have it registered for ages, and loads of people start businesses and they don't register them. And I'm not saying that you need to do that straight away. It is a good idea if you're going to be signing clients. But when you start your business and you have an ego, that is going to stop you from signing clients. If you go into things confidently, speak fluently, speak properly, stand up, don't slouch down like I am now in this chair, but this is YouTube, so it's all right. Don't slouch down, be confident in what you speak, be confident in your product or service. As I say, please, if you're going to ask someone for money for something, you need to be confident in it. If you're not confident in it, you shouldn't be charging for it. My next point is plan ahead and be detailed. Plan ahead and be detailed. Planning ahead is giving as much detail as possible is absolutely crucial. It's crucial. If you are not this, your clients are going to think this person is unorganized. We are paying them X amount of money. And if we can get someone that's more organized than this, we will happily pay them more or the same or less, whatever it may be, depending on how you're priced for your service. If you get to somewhere, for my case, let's say that I get to somewhere like a shoot and I haven't planned in detail, and I get there and I'm like, I did, like there may well be things that you can't control, right? But if you get somewhere and simple little details have been missed and it stops things or it causes friction and it, puts a stop to things, you're responsible for that. And that's just how it is. You are going to look unorganized if you show up to somewhere with like not enough detail in the planning. Yeah, like I'll come and we'll shoot this. Be detailed. What are you shooting? What are the key shots? What bits do you need? What hooks do you need? What hooks are you going to test? Like, this is just in a content sense, but this is crucial. And it does not take that much more work. Just plan ahead. Get a Notion doc and plan it. Simple. Simple. Taking on no education is the next point. Now, this is extremely important. Now, I have been taking on education for a long time, right? A long time. Now, regardless of how many courses I've done, how many YouTube videos I've watched, how many podcasts I've listened to, I have been taking on education for a long time and I have still not been educated enough. I'm still not educated enough. I mess things up to this day. And it's because I'm not educated enough. But you know what it is? See, if you are not educated enough, the only thing that you're going to need to do is go and get more educated. See, if you're not educated enough on, especially if you're not educated enough on the product or service that you provide, and you are watching Netflix. I'm not saying to have a work-life balance, but if you're going to charge people, then you best believe that you're educated. You better believe you're educated. If you show up to somewhere and you've asked someone to pay you and they have paid you for something and you're not educated enough to follow through, that's you. Like, getting a second chance in business is quite tough because it's cutthroat. People don't really care if it's your first time, to be honest. People don't care if it's your first time. There may well be people that do care and they go, right, we get it, it's your first time. But if you're not educated enough and you are being arrogant to that as well and you are not trying to educate yourself, you are the one responsible for your fuck-ups at the end of the day. Listening to business videos or watching business videos on, like, you know, let's say, again, content, for example. I've watched so many videos on, say, colour grading, right? Now, I'm still not that great at colour grading, right? But I've watched hours and hours and hours, right? Now, that is one specific part of my business that I had to learn about when I started it. For me to start charging people for it was colour grading, because I was given a high quality content package and that comes with colour grading. Although what I would recommend is, if, like, regardless of what business you're getting into, whether it's content, whether it's e-com, whether it's selling coffee, self-development and growth style videos. Specifically, if you watch people like Alex Hormozy or Charlie Morgan, things like that, these people talk a lot about self-development and growth and mindset. And another great one is Chris Williamson, listening to the podcast that he's on. It will, especially if you've been through something in your life, will probably hit you. And it's so good if it does. I've been very fortunate to have people who are older than me, who have been through things that I haven't yet been through, to educate me. Mentors, that's another great important thing. If you can get a mentor, get a mentor. Please, if you can get a mentor, get a mentor, because it's crucial. And if you can't, it's totally fine. If you can't and you need, if you're solely relying on your YouTube videos, your podcasts, whatever else, that's fine. But if you can get a mentor, get one. But these videos and this style, this niche, will skyrocket your development in business. If you can understand how your brain works and how others' brains works, specifically a lot of it relates to sales. Understanding where people are at, understanding two sides of the story. You need to be able to understand two sides of a story to be able to, sell to someone or market to someone or whatever it may be. But this comes with education, and you need to be educating yourself. Find someone in business who has already been through it. For example, if I was taking on... Now, I've had my content agency for now just under 2 years. I've had it for 2 years now. So I've had my content agency for 2 years. And only about 3 months ago, I reached out to somebody else who is an amazing videographer in my area, and I asked him if I could come out on a shoot with him. If I could just come out, see how he does things. Because you can always be doing better. You can always be learning something. You're never going to be able to, even if you're ranked as the best videographer per se in the world, that person may even still learn something from me. Whether it's a technique I use when I am moving my gimbal, or whether it's something I do in editing, the way that I edit, the way that I lay something out. Something can always be learned, and that comes down to ego as well. Don't think that you just can't learn something from someone. You can always learn. I'm not saying to go out and spend all of your time with every man in their dug, but find someone who is doing better than you, who has built what you want to build, and ask them if you can come and help them. For example, even if you go out and you say, can I come out and help you for free? If you say to someone, can I come out and help you for free, and I will, whatever it may be, I will look after your camera equipment while you go and shoot. I will, whatever it may be, just go and learn. Now, on to my last point. Now, this is a very important one, and I touched on it a little bit earlier, is responsibility. Take responsibility. Take every situation as if you were wrong. Now, this is something that one of my mentors actually taught me, was take every situation as if you're wrong. Now, the reason I say that is because I'll tell you, I had a situation where in my points here, right, I didn't communicate enough, and I just went and done something that I thought was all right, and it wasn't for the client. And that was down to the fact that I didn't communicate. So that leads into one of my points. But then after the situation had happened and, we broke off and we went our separate ways in business, and I was like, he's done this and he's being unfair. See, instead of whinging about it, see, once that was all over and I had my chat with my mentor, and he said, right, but could you have done anything differently to prevent that? Yeah, but, no, but, could you have? And if yes, what would it be? And if this happened again, would you do that? Would you change that? That is extremely important. And it's take every situation as if you are wrong and see what you can learn. I'm not saying to put yourself down every single time something happens. Some things can genuinely just be other people's fault. But everything is your fault is the motto for me. I live by that. Think of everything as that is your fault. And think about every single way that it could be your fault and see if there's anything, learn from it. Remember it. Write it down. It's not that hard to think about things in the other person's shoes. Realistically, it's not that hard. You don't need to admit it to people. You don't need to go and say that to whoever you've got a situation with. You don't need to go and say to your girlfriend, like, you know, this is my fault. But sit in a room like I am now and think, what happened? How was it my fault? And just think about it. And I'm not saying to sit there and go like, oh, and start crying because, like, you know, it's your fault and you feel sorry for yourself. I'm not. Take it as a hit, but take it as a learning curve. I'm telling you, the most important piece of advice that I received from my mentor was everything is your fault. And I think that could really benefit someone. I know that a lot of people that I've told that to haven't agreed with me. I think they've maybe not seen it fully from my side, but I also understand how it can sound to someone who hasn't got the context on it, or maybe just hasn't got the same build of mindset as myself. I'm very open, and so when I heard that, I was like, what? That's not my Then he explained it to me, just the way that I did there. Everything is your fault is the motto, and yeah, as I say, it's just very important. But yeah, that's today's video. I'm glad I was able to come on here because I have taken some inspiration from Hamza's videos in this sense, where he just sits and he talks, and I quite like them, and they've really impacted me in a sense of like, I'll have been looking for something and I'll have found it in videos like this, where it's just straight to the point. So if you are, I don't know, if you are losing clients, if your LTV of a client is low, if it's lower than it should be, then hopefully this video did help you. If you're getting into your new business, then I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully that these points have maybe been able to pave somewhat path for you, gauge how to deal with some situations. I know I've maybe not went into a lot of detail because I've only been filming here for 20 minutes, and you know, so there's definitely more detail that I could have went into, but yeah, that's today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you like this kind of video. I like filming them, and I like watching them as well. So I'm probably going to keep doing them regardless, and maybe if it can help one person, I've done my job. But yeah, that's it for today, troops. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night. Ciao.